Okay guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone's doing well. So today I've been thinking about it, and I've been thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, and you know what? I thought about it, and you know what? I just come to the conclusion that I'm going to do this video. I wasn't actually going to do it, but then I looked at the video again and I thought, do you know what? It makes no sense. I did a how to use ISTA on an E60. Now, as you guys know, the modules on the E60 are completely different to every other car. They work differently as well, even the alignment, everything's different on the E60 compared to what it is on the older cars, on the E39, E46 per se, and the E53. So I thought, why not do one on the E46 instead? So today I'm going to show you how to use ISTA on the E46. And why am I going to do that? Well, because there's so many people out there with E46s, still E39s, E53s, and they don't have a clue how to use ISTA on their car properly. And I thought, instead of helping everybody with E60s all the time and the newer stuff, why not help people with the older cars as well? So that's what we're going to do today. Now, earlier today I did go and do the vacuum lines on the car. As you guys know, when I did the manifold, most of the vacuum lines broke. I didn't record the video because it just would have been a headache, because I had to get underneath the car, and as you know, my GoPro with the mics on it, these silly fluffy mics, just would have got under the way and got trapped with the fuel filter, and I had to take the fuel filter down, and it was just quicker to do it instead of recording it. As you know, it took me 10 minutes to do. If I was recording, it probably took me an hour. So that's what I mean, it takes a long time to do. So today what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go out, I'm going to show you how to use ISTA on the E46, and we're going to crack on and get that rolling. Obviously, as you guys know, if you do like this video and you ain't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. As you guys do know, it takes me a long time to edit these videos and also publish them as well. I'm very grateful for all you guys who have subscribed to me and who have stuck by me and give me the thumbs up and always like my videos. YouTube, I highly recommend them based on that, and I can't thank you all enough. But let's crack on and let's get using ISTA on the E46, and let's show you what options you can do on that car. This also relates to the E39 and E53. It doesn't matter what engine, what size, all the modules will be the same. If you do have memory seats, you'll have other modules, but apart from that, most of the engine electronic modules and everything is basically the same, and they will give you the same function. Okay guys, so as you can see here, I've got the laptop on, and as you can see, my laptop's on. You guys know the layout of my laptop already, need I say more? So what we're going to go ahead and do is just open ISTA, which is around right here, and as you can see, I've got the whole icon connected. As you can see down here, I don't know if you can clearly see, it's very dark out here. I'm not in the garage, so there isn't much light, but I'm only showing you how to use ISTA, so really we don't need no light. But apart from that, this is how we're going to use it, guys. And obviously, like I say, that's now you can see the cable, and I've just turned the lights on. So I've got the Ethernet all plugged up to the laptop, and for the icon, you name it, it's on. So we're going to go into ISTA once it loads. Obviously it takes a bit of time, and then we're going to crack on. Now as you can see, it's just loaded, which is right here. So now it's loaded properly, which it will do. And anyone who's got this program, be aware of that. Don't worry about it. It's not the program not working. It just can act up sometimes. But as you can see, yes, I'm not screen recording. And do I care? Not so much. Providing you guys can see it, that's the main thing. I am trying to shoot as close as possible. Now the battery is 11.2 volts, as you can see. A lot of people again always ask me, why can't I see the voltage? Well, you won't see the voltage if you're using a DCAN cable. You only see the voltage if you're using an icon. Now as you can see, it's just scanning the car. On these cars, they take a long time. They don't communicate as quick as these 60s do. You know, these cars take a hell of a long time just to communicate with the vehicle. Don't ask me why. I haven't scanned this car since I've had it. I've been doing all the repairs. We're going to now see what's going to come up. As you see, it's scanning the whole car. We're going to then now see all the fault codes. I'm going to show you all the functions on the car. Do I worry if the battery goes flat? Not really. I've got enough jump packs, chargers, voltage stabilizers, the lot. So I ain't got one plugged up at the moment because I don't feel like I need to. If anything happens, we'll just plug one on. Not the end of the world. I'm not going to plug a voltage stabilizer on now, as I've got no need. As you can see, the DME's got a fault code. I dread to think what that is. Maybe it's something because of how many things are disconnected, or maybe it's just because the car's been sitting so long. As you guys probably will like to know as well, I haven't got the registration for this car as to speak yet. I'm still waiting for it to come. That's why I got the car cheap in the first place, because obviously it was part of a thing. And then there's the signal for the air mass flow sensor. Now I know that why that was on, and that was because of I didn't plug the mass airflow sensor back in when I did the PCV, so I know why that code's there anyway. That's not an issue. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to rescan again. Now this is what you want to do. If you get any faults, the first thing you always want to do with a car is, some of the faults might have been rectified. is delete them and then rescan. These cars are pretty easy. As you see, there's not many modules. You've got the EWS electronic driver program. It's the same thing on the E60s, but a lot more complicated than what it is on the cars here on this year, because it's easier to actually make keys than it is on the E60. As you'll see here, all the modules turn up green. Now what we're going to go into is vehicle management, and when you go into service functions, you're going to see there's not many choices now. As you've got powertrain, and then you've got digital motor electronics. Now when you click digital motor electronics, you've got adjustment of idle speed. Now as you guys know, on the M52 there was a rough idle problem, and you could do that to get away with getting rid of your rough idle. You don't have to do that on these. These M54s run sweet as. I don't see why anyone would want to change the idle on these. These idles are the best engines you could ever get. CO adjustments, that's for your CO2. If you put it, see if you're what kind of CO2 you're giving out, and obviously that determines your road tax, especially in this country. More CO2 you pump out, the more road tax you pay. The less you pay. DME and EWS adjustment. Now you guys will know that's the same as CAS and DME. If them two ain't aligned, the car won't start. It's a common problem. But on these, it's the EWS, the GM and the DME that communicate together. It's nothing bigger than the same with the gearbox. They'll communicate. But EWS, you got your own separate box in here. It's not like it's built into the CAS, which is a complete, you know what I'm going to say about that. Fuel consumption display adjustment. Now that's if you're using a different fuel grade, which we're not. I'm using the right fuel. This is all correct. There's no need for me to do that. Functional checkup mixed up of oxygen sensors. Now, as you guys know, if you take off the rocker cover, you've got to take off the oxygen sensors. And if you ever was to unplug them because you was trying to strip the engine, or you're taking a manifold off, for instance, you can come here and this will tell you if you've mixed the oxygen sensors up. It will test them and tell you. And then you'll know to reset them. Internal engine pressure. Again, you need a different kind of system for that. You need a piece that connects to the laptop that runs the testing engine internal pressure, but you can test if it's got low pressure on the cylinders and so on. Reset adaptions, as you guys know, that resets the learning adaptions for the gearbox and the engine on these cars. Very good function. I use that a lot. That one especially there, especially when I get a new car. That's the first thing I did when I purchased this car from the owner. Straight away he was asking me what I was doing. I told him I was resetting the adaptions, because that brings up any known fault code someone's tried to hide it. So when you reset the adaptions, set point value comparison idle position. Now that will tell you the actual position of the idle and the set point. So if the set point set at 650 RPM and the actual valve comparison is end up sitting too high, one of them's out of sync, so you can find out if it's the computer that's running the idle at a point, so you know it's the sensor, or if it's the idle control valve itself not functioning fully. The electronic car immobilization system. Now in here you've got add a production date, so you can add the production date of the key. You can block and enable a key. So the same thing on the E60s. If you lose one of your keys and you've got keys registered in the EWS, you can block them if you lost them. I have both. I don't need to do that. Again, you need to do the DME EWS adjustment for that key. So the key registers with the car to unlock it and it deactivates the immobilizer. The key status, so that will show you the battery and if the key's picking up a signal between the central locking, which mine are. Record retrofitting. So retrofitting will be if you've retrofitted the EWS or you've retrofitted done a new key. And you can write the key variant as well. It's all to do with really the keys on these cars, because they're not hard to do. And then you've got the service function search, which is all the service that's ever been done. Oil level check, again, that's only the one in transmission, because it doesn't come into adaptions here on the transmission on the E46. But the oil level check is the oil in the transmission, so you've got to let the car get up to temperature and you can check the oil. That should be used when you change your gearbox fluid on any of these cars. Use that and it will tell you the correct temperature of the oil. And now a lot of people don't do that, but if you use that, your gearbox will be fine when changing the oil. Chassis and suspension. Now as you guys can see here, we've got the DSC, MKC, ABS module. Now you guys know what that is already. That's a common problem on the E39s. They go out. Now what you can do with this is check the ABS module. So if I click that down, you can check the connections to the brake lines, the speed sensors, and you can also check the read in vehicle identification number. As you guys know, when you change these modules, you have to change the identification number on them modules as well, because if you don't, they won't pair up. You'll still have the ABS lights on your dash. They have to have their VIN changed on them. I don't know why BMW done it only with that one, but you know, hell's no with anything. Sensors, DSC adjustment. So the lateral acceleration sensor, which is your throttle valve, as you know, that's got to be adjusted, as it knows it's got a sensor on the pedal itself. So you really do need to recalibrate that all the time. You fit a new throttle position sensor. Pressure sensors, or the DSC, these have just been replaced, 2 of them, so they have been done. Steering angle sensor, you guys know what that is very well. Nathan's done a video about that. It's not really common on these. I mean, in the US, I see it a lot that you guys get it, but in this country, I've not seen it on any cars I've had. So I'm not going to go into that. Ventilation. Now, ventilation is for the ventilation of the brake. So that is to bleed the brake system on these. As you guys know, you will see bleeding brake routine on the E60. On the E46, it's called ventilation to vent the brakes. It's a whole different setup. This is what I was telling you. Now you can check the wheel control joints on the front axle, and that just tells you how to do that. The service functions, again, is the search. You don't need that. Now in the body, as you'll see here, there's not many modules here as there is in the thing. Air conditioning. You can deactivate the transport retainer. So as you guys know, when these cars come brand new, they set a transport mode on them. Why do they do that? They set transport mode for the simple fact being so the AC compressor doesn't wear out in transport and getting bounced around all over the place while it's on a low loader coming over to the country. So you can deactivate that. Most dealers do that straight away as soon as they get it anyway. Take it all off transport. So if it's got air suspension, you've got transport mode on. Automatic interval control, initialize the rain sensor, so you guys know what the rain sensor is. So it's above your mirror in that little black casing. Sometimes it goes bad, sometimes it doesn't turn on when you want the auto wipers to. On the E46, E39 and E53, they turn on automatically. On the E60s, you have to turn that on. Again, that all varies from you. If you've got a problem, you just come into there and reinitialize it. Electric car mobilization system. Now, as you guys know, we've already been through that. We've just went through that. It's all the same thing. It's no different. Now, this is for if you've got the Siemens handset telephone, like I've got the Bluetooth in this, and you've got the log receiver on or off, which mine's on, obviously. Instrument cluster, so you can reset the service interval indicator with a diagnostics tester or without a diagnostics tester. It just depends. Or you can do a system test on the cluster itself. So if the cluster's at fault. Next one is light switch cluster. You can read out the operating data from the light switch data. So if anyone's tried to do mileage manipulation, for instance, you can test it. Multiple restraint system, you can read the coding data to make sure the coding's correct for the airbags to deploy. So, you know, it's all things like that, especially because if you change an airbag module, you need to make sure it's coded in. Navigation, DVD lock, we don't have navigation in this car. So, transport mode as well. As you can see there's the delete transport mode. It deletes everything in transport mode. ULF, universal charger and hands-free unit. That's just change emergency call number. Nothing major. BMW Group mobile service. This is all if you've got cover on your car from new. So as you can see, there is a lot there, and as I say, troubleshooting, you can go into this and you'll get your fault codes, and as you see, IHK or AUC, that sensor always goes bad. Same as on my E60, you guys know I've got that fault code as well. Them sensors, there's no point even replacing them, especially on the E46. On the E60 it controls the aircon, on the E46 it does not. That's just that little box that sits in a bloody fan. It gives you a headache. Now, as you'll see, this is all your maintenance schedules for your E46. Now, this will walk you through everything you need to do on your crankcase ventilation and so on and so on. It will show you how to do it, what torque specs, blah, blah, blah. You know the deal. DME. Now, as you're going to see here, I'm going to call up the ECU functions. I can call up different ECU functions on the ECU itself. And so I can show you guys what you can do with each ECU individually. So if I call up the ECU functions of the DME, for instance, it will call it up and it will give me all the functions I can test on the DME. So for instance, on the E39, you guys suffer with electric fan failure, and we do here as well, because it's pulse width modulated, and you can test it here on the electric fan. Now, do I want to test my fan? No, I know it's working, but as you can see, you can test the fuel injectors, and if you go into general, you can see all the things you can test. So you can test the air conditioning compressor, the electric fan, but not the Z3, the idle actuator, idle speed, motor of diagnostic relay for the fuel pump, and the secondary air pump, which we don't have. Only special European cars have that. Diagnosis scan, everything in here. As you'll see here, the gearbox, the knock control sensors, the smooth running values, the exhaust emission system. So for instance, if I go into gearbox, I can select the lever settings or transmission intervention, which means it will try and test the transmission and make sure everything's working fully. Do I need to do that? Not really, no. But again, it also shows you identification if you're on the latest firmware. Production date, the year, programming date, as you'll see, 20th of the 4th 19, because that's when I updated the modules. So I updated all the modules and everything went fine. So that's the latest on the latest firmware. So that one's out of the picture. Now let's move on to EGS. So if I call up the EGS, let's see what the EGS recommends. Again, guys, sorry I'm not screen recording. It would have been a pig just to go inside my house just to screen record it, and it would have sounded all fuzzy on the mics. Hence why I never. In here, as you can see, you can activate the instrument cluster. Activations on the instrument cluster if you really wanted to make sure the lights are working. Again, this is a good thing because a lot of people, when you buy a car, like to take out the indicators on there. So if it's got the cog light, they'll take it out. It might still drive, but it might go down in limp mode. You can test if that light comes on via here. Or again, you can test the pressure actuator in it, the solenoid valves. You can check the reversing light, only available with the E46, for instance. And then again, you can come into diagnosis stand and just test everything, the transmission functions, everything, the speed, switch programming. And again, if we go to identification, we should see that I updated this as well, which you do see right there. These have all been updated to the latest firmware, which they weren't on. Why? Only God only knows. But they are all on the latest firmware now. As you'll see, if you just hover over it as well, it shows you what the make is and everything. I did show you this before. You can see there, when you hover over anything, even a DME, it shows you right there what it is, MS43, and it will show you the part number as well. Now, the same for the light switch cluster, which is, like I say, not really anything important. The ULF, the universal charger, and hands-free. So if we call up the functions, again, I can just do diagnosis scan. I can click general, Bluetooth code, and as you'll see here, I can get the code from the Bluetooth module, 4846. As you see right there, that's how you get your Bluetooth code without looking for your Bluetooth module. Now, I know I did a video showing you guys how to do a Bluetooth, find your Bluetooth module in your car, but this is how you'd get your Bluetooth module code right there, and that is your Bluetooth code. And that's the easiest way of doing it. If you get in a car and you don't know the code, that's all you do is come into it and it'll tell you it. And I did this because obviously, like I say, my family's all in BMW and they didn't know the code for their Bluetooth module. And that's how you find it out. BMW, we're not stupid. You can easily reset the control unit if you wanted to, but I don't need to. And that'll delete any old mobile phones that are registered to it. The PDC, for instance, I fixed them as well, guys. I didn't do a video on that. One was that, and I've done it. It wasn't a hard job. Do I need to update it? No, I don't. PDC front. So, for instance, I can just show you now. Distance front left. We're going to test them all, front, middle, front right, and front right again. Which we don't have. Status was not pressed, so I don't know where the button is on this car. I don't know if this is the one right here. No, it can't be the button. Like I say, I don't know where the button is on these E46s. I don't think they do come with a button. But we don't have front parking sensors, so I don't know why this is even coming up anyway. We want the PDC rear now. If we click them all, you should hear them all activate. I don't know if you'll hear them or you'll see them. As you'll see, that shows they're all fully working. 255 centimeters. They're all fully working, the parking sensors, as you can see. And that's what you want to check. If you ever get worried that your parking sensors ain't working, you can check it. So you can check the status of the parking aid, for instance. So it's not active. I don't know why that is. Reverse gear. That's because reverse gear ain't active. I only have reverse ones on this. I don't have the front ones on this car. But you don't really need them on this car. So we can check the acoustic generator. So let's see. And as you can hear there, that's the reversing sensors. That's the acoustic generator. That's the beep that you'll get when you're backing up too much. Good thing BMW put it in the front here. EWS. Now this is another one. Now I don't really want to update this because you don't have to. Again, you could check here and you go into diagnostic scan and just go into general. And you can check the current key number, key identification, make sure the key's transmitting the signal, starter enabled, random keys, random code, and check everything. Now, obviously, I'm not going to put that up for obvious reasons, my random code, because you don't want the random code coming. Now, that's the random code that changes all the time, a rolling code, as we call it, that changes with the EWS and immobilizer for the key. Every time it generates a new code to start your car. That's why you can't just go and buy a key, think it's going to work. It don't work like that. They have to go through the EWS and you have to get the rolling codes out of there and match it with the DME. And then they change their codes in cycle. Now, in the GM one, the GM is the one most of you always have a problem with in the US. So this would be all the modules right here. To test all the windscreen wiping, the power windows, or just everything you want to test on the car. E46 top automatic. And you can test the central lock-in and just test everything's working fine. Now, as you'll see here, there is quite a lot of the modules here that you can test. And this is because, you know, this is why I say to people, this program will help you so much if you own a BMW, because there is no other program on the market, even to date, no cheap scanner, no nothing, that's going to give you this much information regarding your car and help you through every problem and let you test every function on the car. There's nothing. This can pick up every module in the car and test every module. There's not one function this thing can't do. It will show you how to repair it. It walks you through it as I showed you here. You can just go to vehicle management and you can check, like for instance, crankcase ventilation. I'm just going to show you guys, for instance. Should be here in a minute. Hold on a second. Let's just find it. So, like I say, if you just click on anything here, or even, for instance, let's just try here. The fuel supply. If we click on fuel supply, see what comes up. Fuel supply system, you know, if you click here, it will now show you everything to look for. Like you can see, rollover valve. They've got so many different things on here, and a pressure limiting valve. It will show you everything it should be at, and show you how to do it. You know, this is all the repair maintenance stuff, guys, and this is what I mean. No other program will give you all this and help you through your problems with your car as much as this will. You'll be surprised how much data this little program holds on its own. But you, like I say, this holds so much data just on BMWs, especially on the E46, on these kind of cars. I know they're very easy and straightforward, but bear in mind, they still can get very complicated because they're old, and a lot of people don't understand, especially if one of the GM modules go down. And it's good for coding as well. Like if you want to code in simple basic features like your locks to go down, or your locks, or in the US I know you've got the daytime running lights, code them out. Or if you want to code out the automatic locks when you drive off, because that thing's really annoying, you can do that as well. Like there's so many features you can do. Like you can turn on your mirror to drop. Like my mirror drops when I'm going in reverse and things like that. It tilts down. My E60 does the same thing. I think only M Sports do that. But again, guys, there's so many features, and I think this program will help anyone with an E46, E39, and E53. And like I said to you guys, I didn't really want to have to do this video, but I just wanted to be fair. I did it on E60, and E60 is for newer technology. So for instance, E60, E61, E63, E65s, it doesn't relate to these E46 ones. They've all got different modules. As you see, a GM would be called a CAS, and EWS is still the same thing on the BMW, but on the E60, but it's built into the CAS now. It's not separate, and that's what I mean. You know, you've got so many different modules here that are completely different to what the car is, what they have on the E60. I mean, the IHK is still the same, the RLS is still the same, MRS is still the same, PDC is still the same. But you got the SZM, you got the SZL on a E60. ULF, you've got the I think it's TELE on the E60, as well as ULF. You've got quite a few different ones on there, you know, and you've got the LM modules now. It's not LSZ, and that's another thing. That's another difference just on its own, you know, and you've got to bear that in mind, that these cars are very old, but they are very complicated still. And that's why, guys, I wanted to do this video for you. So, guys, that's it, and I hope you enjoyed this video of ISTA D. So that's it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video of me using ISTA D on the E46, and anyone with an E39 that's on my channel, or E53, this will now help you and show you what to look for and how to use ISTA D properly, because I know many of you have it, many of you have purchased it, and you've got them cars and you don't know how to get into the service function, you don't know what the service function each one is. So that's another reason why I've done this video as well, because I get asked a lot about on the other cars, and like I said, I didn't have one to do a video on at the time when I did that ISTA D one, but now I do. That's why I've gone and done one for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you ain't subscribed already, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching my video. This is BMW Dr. Dean here, and goodbye.